Streaming. We'll give people a few minutes to tune in, like always. But
You got a link you can throw me, and I'll put it in our chat as well.
yeah. How was Iceland?
Oh man, it exceeded my expectations on every level, including expenses, but it was worth it.
You mean it was a pretty expensive place to
Oh
live?
yeah, it's one of the most expensive countries, if not the most in the world.
Yes.
But it was incredible. It's I mean their tourism industry is just booming. While I'm there the whole time, I'm thinking, how can I invest in Iceland because they are just building and it's an incredible place. It's so close by, and there's so much to see that, yeah. I mean, unless there's a volcano eruption, their economy is going to do really well for a while.
It's just insane to think that they jailed the bankers and just reset their system, and now they're killing it, and yet people will still argue black and blue that you can't let the banks fail, or too big to fail, and it would do this and that. I've just sent you that link on Slack, mate, and
Got it.
Ben's tweeting it out for us as well. So, guys,
Perfect.
thanks for tuning in. Anyone who's tuning in, we'll give everyone else a couple of minutes if you can smash that like button. But Dan and I last minute decided to do this live because we've had some pretty big news come out today about possible SEC. I think it's going to be delayed still, Dan. What do you think?
I do as well. It's a little bit tricky, the wording, but that's the general consensus is delayed. And in my video I just made, I said that that's pretty much, I mean, a good thing. Pretty much anything but a rejection is a good thing at this point. And the fact they rejected 9 others and they're keeping this one up, I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? I still don't have high hopes, but better than a rejection.
And Tilray's been massive this week, and a few other of the weed stocks. So we'll just give it another minute, and we've already got about 100 watching, which is good. And yeah, so Iceland, when I said you're going to go visit any of the mining rigs, it's because they've got just crazy renewable setups from like everything from geothermal to solar as well, I think, up there. Or, yeah,
Yeah, I had no
crazy.
idea. I had no idea, but they got their energy system down. I mean, their hot water is coming straight out of the ground, and there's so much geothermal activity that it's pretty cool to see them do that and to see Bitcoin a part of that. That's pretty awesome.
And it's so cold that they keep their mining rigs cold, but you've got to filter the air from all the moisture for the cold, wet air so it doesn't get into the computers. So everyone's got their own issues when it comes to Bitcoin mining. Awesome. So, guys, we've got about 100 watching. So, Dan, welcome. Welcome back from Iceland. What did you guys make of this SEC announcement that they're considering a few of the rule changes and other sort of criteria? They want more feedback.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see. And that's honestly, we did that. We put out the call to give feedback a while ago on the comments, and the comments spiked significantly. So this is where the community needs to definitely band together. And, it's the kind of thing some people say, oh, your vote doesn't matter, but it can't hurt. So write in, they got 1,400 so far. Let's make it 10,000, And I think that could definitely have some kind of impact.
100%. And there's, guys been negative in the comments saying, oh, do you really think the SEC is going to listen to one comment from me? And it's like, well, look, this is evidence that the crypto community does pull together more than maybe a stock community or anything else. And I don't think they're probably used to being bombarded with feedback.
Definitely. I mean, the fact that they even mentioned it in the announcement, 1,400. I mean, they put the number out there. They count them. So
Yeah, yeah. So the main three things, guys, that they're trying to address is the fact that is Bitcoin in a trust, which then issues shares? Is that a better way, safer way to go about it? Are the OTC markets less prone to manipulation? So, when BitMEX goes offline and the price goes up or down $100, $200, in the OTC world, when people are negotiating big deals, they don't go, oh, we're renegotiating now at $100, $200 higher because of what happened on one exchange. So that's kind of where they're going to get pricing with less volatility if all goes to plan, and obviously less susceptible to manipulation for a lot of those reasons as well. In the OTC market, where everyone's got to be verified, money going between big banks, there's not these guys depositing just Bitcoin with unregistered accounts on anonymous exchanges. So that's kind of the three things that SEC want to seek feedback on. And I don't know what you think, Dan, but after some of the stuff we've seen in the stock, in the weed stocks this week, going up thousands of percent, and freezes and all this sort of stuff. How can you argue that Bitcoin, that's been not very volatile at all the past 6 months, is less prone to manipulation and volatility than things we're seeing in other asset or commodity classes?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely these correlations between the two, and TLRY is a great example. And just watching CNBC, where they're doing the exact same thing with the MJ stocks that they did with crypto. They jump on the hype train. They know that people want to eat this content up, so they shove it down their throats. And they've got a little in the corner now where they had the Bitcoin tracker throughout the day. They've now got the TLRY tracker, and it's the same thing. So yes, I mean, this what TLRY is doing is putting out in the public for everyone to see. This is a game. We are playing a game with numbers that can be manipulated. There's a ton of the shares are held by one guy. So there's a very low float. That'd be like someone buying up, 70% of the Bitcoin, and then the rest of the Bitcoin gets traded, and there's so much less supply that the price just goes through the roof, and valuations make absolutely no sense. And that's why fundamentals don't really matter in the short term. And I think it's a good way to have it on display, and it is comparable to Bitcoin, absolutely.
And what you just described then is what we see with a lot of these hard fork coins. So, I don't want to name names, but they do hard forks. They pre-mine and allocate themselves 70%. And people go, geez, how can that hard fork be trading at such a high price? It's because it's just an unrealistic market cap or valuation, because so much is being held in the hands of a few. In terms of Tilray, this is what I love about being in the crypto space. It fast tracks your learning. Some people have never seen a big correction in the stock market, or they've never seen euphoria in a bubble. Now, watching that play out and seeing you guys talk about it for ages, so congratulations. But then yesterday I got emails in my inbox from investing newsletters talking about Tilray. Then it was on YouTube crypto channels that have never spoken about it. And to me, that's the ultimate contrarian play. When it blows up on Twitter and everyone's talking about it, it's not the time to be getting FOMO and rushing into buying. It's time to think, right, how can I short this or make money on the way down?
Absolutely. It's an indicator. It's a social media indicator. It's a CNBC indicator. We get to a point, it's all supply and demand. And when it's put out in the media and everybody that can see that content and absorb it has done so, the demand dries up and the supply is still there, and we get the correction. It's just the way it works.
And did you guys get some fills? Because I was trying to sell options and there was just no liquidity, and the spread was crazy trying to sell those options. Yeah.
I lucked out big time. I played a small amount, obviously, because I'm fighting that crazy bull train. But the 300 psychological level and the speed at which we got up there, I did enter $300 puts for next week. And I got them at 85. The low of the day was 83, so it was right there. And only flipped them for, I say only, but it was 50%, which is nice. But again, the size of the drop, you would expect a lot bigger gains than what I got, but it was just the volatility already being priced in.
Absolutely. And that's a little bit like crypto, I guess, and smaller coins. And there's all these similarities, guys. If you're learning how this world works, you're doing yourself a lifetime of education and favor, I believe. So what are we looking forward to now, Dan? Ripple broke out today. So whether or not you love or hate Ripple, if you want to make money in trading, maybe that's the first altcoin that's going to break out. We've seen one by one a few of the better coins start to move independently. So this is all interesting to me, how quickly sort of sentiment has switched on crypto Twitter. And everyone's expecting that one more leg down. And if we don't get it, I think, look out, there's going to be a serious rally.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at the Ripple weekly chart right now, and it is one of the first to change that trend. And it's doing it in a really big, high volume way. And there's obviously, there's some speculation on what it is, what's behind it. And you could even say, the big banks are behind it. They got deep pockets. Maybe they're going to run it. I said in my video today, they're getting attention. Ripple is getting attention right now because it's the only coin that's doing this really. And it's changing the trend on the weekly, and it's seeing significant volume and price action. And in a cryptocurrency environment that's dead and boring recently, that stands out in a big way. And it looks a lot like the Canadian MJ stocks on the weekly time frame, 4 months ago before the trend changed. And there are a lot of similarities in those weekly charts. It's just the Canadian MJ world is a little bit ahead of the game. We'll see if crypto follows along.
Yeah. I think if this gets delayed for 6 months and the thesis is we're working out how to do this safely for the crypto ETF. I've heard rumors that they'll only be buying freshly mined coins, so that don't have any history of being on exchanges or involvement with fraud and drugs and all that sort of thing. So if all these sort of underlying factors are leading to this outcome where people think that it's highly likely, I think that's enough to sort of turn the markets around and get some good sentiment.
It's possible. I mean, the way that these bulls are defending these supports, again, while they're not, giving the follow through to break resistances and change trends, they're definitely, showing us that they are still around, and they're definitely lurking there in defense mode. The question is, are they ever going to go on offense mode? And we aren't seeing it, but, we got to keep an eye out for it.
Were you a bit surprised that Bitcoin didn't break 6,000? I certainly was when it got tested, the fourth and then fifth time with altcoins making new lows. I've been pretty surprised that Bitcoin's been pretty strong.
Yeah, there was one that surprised me, and it was the one down to 5,900. When that one held the initial low, that definitely showed something to me. And then we ran up to 74, so we had a solid bounce there. So yeah, there has been, again, it's defense mode by the bulls. They're absolutely doing a good job defending these levels. The question is, are they just going to run out of steam and the bears are going to roll them over, or are these bulls going to be able to flip the script and get some bull action going on?
And we should have an answer in the next 2 weeks, which is going to be exciting either way.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, Dan, for everyone?
Let's see. I mean, everybody's asking me now, what's the next thing now that, Canadian MJ's out in the open and everybody knows and the herd knows. So what's the next thing before the herd? And honestly, staying in tune with technology in terms of new and upcoming things is definitely the way to stay ahead of the herd. So again, don't be relying on the television. Find yourself like-minded individuals in a group, in a community that you can bounce ideas off of, that you're sharing eyes with. Again, I mean, I'm sure your community is the same way, but there's so many eyes on the market sharing information. It's not even possible to fathom doing that on your own. I know so much more. I am so much more well-versed with the spaces that we cover because of our community as well. So find some friends.
100%. And one thing we've been talking about a lot, renewable energy, uranium. What are things that are dead and haven't been getting any attention that only have room to have more positive news and development, I think. Awesome. Well, thanks, Dan, and thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll leave it there.
Have a good night, day.